Welcome to Beyond the Classroom with Ms. LaRose, the podcast where we explore stories, experiences, and ideas that shape education and life beyond the classroom. Today, my guest is Patricia Watson Williams, the author of Social Services 360. Patricia, welcome to Beyond the Classroom with Ms. LaRose.
Thank you so much for having me, Ms. LaRose. It is a pleasure to be here this afternoon with you.
Thank you so much. And today, we're going to be talking about a topic that's very close to your heart: community and real impact when community changes everything. Now, before we start, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Thank you so much for giving me that space. I consider myself to be a multifaceted social services employee. I have been in the field now for 25 plus years, has been my journey. Currently, right now, I'm serving at a nonprofit organization that provides mental health services for schools throughout the New York City area, including shelter-based programs as well.
Okay.
So that's kind of what my portfolio looks like in there. And in between that time, as you mentioned, I did become recently an author of Social Services 360. I wanted to talk about social services, but I wanted to talk about the importance of what does it actually look like and how it impacts the entire community. And at some point, individuals will rely on social services, and who are the people we reach out to, and who are the people we could get support from? What are the programs? I speak about that, but I speak about highlighted items, but there's also some challenges in the field that I definitely explored as well.
Right.
And after that time, I also made a decision that I wanted to be an organizational consultant. So I am currently now Patricia Williams, consulting firm LLC, as of December 5th, 2025.
Beautiful.
And I'm working on that project as we speak. Yes.
Now, everything that you said actually is the perfect segue to the next question. What does community changes everything mean to you?
Okay, so community changes everything means to me that we can't do this work alone. There are people that are in leadership positions and people that are in government positions, but it takes an entire community of strong people that can focus their part and build and create. So I believe it means togetherness. I believe it means putting our differences aside. So when we have opportunities to serve the shared vision.
And because you have such a vast history and experience with working with different communities, can you share a moment when community made a difference?
Okay, I'm going to share this moment. Just to warn everyone, we will be talking about what on March 2020 and how that impacted our school communities. And we had got the memo that we would probably be out of school for approximately 2 weeks.
Yes.
That was what was stated. However, I believe that went approximately, I want to say definitely for that first year, approximately a good 16 to 18 months.
Yeah,
we were in a virtual space. And how community changed that situation was we had a visionary leader in our school, and she was absolutely amazing. And
leadership matters.
Leadership strongly matters. So she was that person that was already looking into what are we going to do for our kids? How are we going to do this? And once we all were in spaces and places where students were at home, we went ahead and she got as many laptops and pads and iPads.
Wow.
And then we, as the school community members, that would be like the CBO partners, the teachers, we all brought these items to our students at their home. We also brought them artistic items and different things we gathered. I got some free items from the Material of the Arts. People are very familiar with that in the nonprofit space. And we had these art kits for kids and their families, and it was amazing how everyone came together. We had folks for food pantry. I'm going to share two brief instances about our virtual space. So in that virtual space, it was difficult to navigate, first of all.
Yep.
That was not something that we were familiar because we believed teaching had to be in person with our young ones. But the beautiful part about it was once we began to navigate it, we made the system work for us as a community. So we had attendance initiatives when students came to school on time. We had the awards ceremonies. We had an 80s party, which was the biggest fun in the world. We all dressed up on virtual call, and it was truly amazing.
Oh, this was virtual.
Oh, no, this was all virtual.
I didn't realize that. That is amazing.
So this was all virtual.
So pretty much it took more than just the leader of the school to make all of this happen.
Absolutely.
Who else was part of that community?
Oh, well, we have, oh my goodness. It was our faith-based organizations that were close by the school. We have a violence prevention program called BEVO, Brownsville In, Violence Out.
Brownsville, that's where I'm from. That's where I was born and raised.
Right, right. So we had them show up for our school communities. We had the police department show up when we did a student parade. We also did our graduation because our students weren't coming back to the building, our bigger kids.
Right.
So what we did was we had a motorcade, and the police department allowed us the space, and we had decorated our cars. We rode past the children's homes. We put up their banners in front of the school to let people know that our kids still graduated and they were still the graduates of the school community.
Wow, that is
so we
beautiful.
did all of that stuff and that was what community looks like in action. Were there differences and challenges? Absolutely. There always will be, but our common goal was the kids.
So now that we are kind of back to normal, where do you think schools fall short when it comes to community?
Okay, that's a very good question. I'm glad you asked it. What I believe one of the main issues that we have is not giving intentional time to meet and brainstorm and have conversations about the issues. The school day is a fast day. The school day starts very early when teachers are leaving their homes, anywhere between 5:30 to 6, depending on where they have to go to. They need to report in, clock in at least by 7:30.
Yep.
Right? Okay.
Yep.
I'm speaking things you know.
Absolutely.
And then we're with the kids. Even as CBO partners, we're doing after school, or we're doing an early morning group with kids. And so we're with the kids all the time. And then, well, if someone's not, who's watching the kids, how are we meeting?
Yeah.
How possible is that? I don't think it's anyone's particular fault. I just think that there has to be space to, parents are running around. Like, there has to be a space where individuals can come together and we could collectively sit down at the table and say, from my perspective, this is what I think of this, or from my perspective, this is what I think of that. So we want to be able to kind of hear all the voices, and then let's start to make some real concrete practices. Let's get some concrete, tangible deliverables for the families and services instead of making lofty ideas.
And you mentioned teachers, and as a teacher, I know that we already have enough on our plate. However, there are some things that teachers can do better in order to impact the community. What do you think teachers should do to start?
I think one of the best things you could do as a teacher is to acknowledge the student, greeting the student in the way they desire to be greeted, by their name. They enjoy the fist bump. They enjoy the little handshake, especially since COVID, we've been very conscious of how we're greeting one another. If people want, like I said, we don't do the hugs anymore, but we definitely do the bumps and we do the different things. So those things, that's one thing. Another thing is creating an engaging and inviting, inclusive environment. I think that is so important. That was one of the things I learned as a community school director. I'm like, the bulletin boards are everything. Yep. That is like the school, your classroom culture. I could tell you what kind of classroom culture there is just by looking at the bulletin board.
Wow. So now that we've, put a little pressure on the teachers, let's talk about the families.
Yes.
What could families do to strengthen the community?
They should have an active, positive, nurturing voice to their child, but also the people that work with their child. So we want to be able to be open-minded when we're having communications with school partners. We want to be able to show up at the school in a positive, productive way. We have parent-teacher meetings. We have parent-teacher association. We have multicultural events. We have events, and we put a lot of effort into these things. So we would want parents to show up and see what the child is doing. we would prefer to have a positive, nurturing relationship as a CBO, as a school community, instead of if something's going wrong. We want to be able to kind of start off very positively with the family. So, but if we can't get insight to do that or know each other, then how do we grow that?
Yeah.
What do we do with that?
And do you have any examples of how families did show up?
Yes.
As part of the
yes,
community?
I think one of the things we did was we had a Thanksgiving initiative one year. And what was really nice about it, we wanted to give away gift boxes to families that we felt like that needed these boxes, and people were donating and giving. We wanted to do a potential of 10, but we ended up doing, I think we had 35 boxes full of items to give to folks in the shelter, larger families, and different things. Because one thing about it is once you're doing something positive and everyone is on the same page, the directives are clear. It's as they say now, make it plain. Like, let's state what's needed. We went to our church communities. We got turkeys. You can always get a turkey for Thanksgiving. I will say, in the borough of Brooklyn, we went to the borough president's office and we got turkeys and we got vegetables and different things of that nature.
And the families were involved in all of this?
Families were involved in all of this because they were doing the packing and the separating.
Okay.
And the students were helping too.
Okay.
So it was like a community event as well.
Wow, the impact must have been amazing for the community.
It was.
And for the school community also, not just the surrounding community, but the school community.
Yes.
Which is its own little microsystem in itself.
Yes.
Yeah. So what can school leaders do? As we did speak about leaders, and we said that the leader that you were referring to was a good leader. But what could other school leaders do?
Other school leaders could do some self-reflection. I think self-reflection plays a big part in how we lead. And I feel like we need to bring up other leaders throughout the ranks so the work isn't so heavy and taxing. You want to entrust the work with the work that people can do with strong capabilities.
Yes.
You want to be able to take a look at that. We want to be able to invite people to the school to showcase the work you're doing. I believe it is strongly important for individuals to have political parties, open houses to come in, and people to actually see this is what the school is about, because I'm very familiar with New York City has the city council, and city council has funding to fund different areas of programming within a school community. I want to see where that money's going.
Yeah.
And I would, as a politician, I would want to see that. So that's definitely something I would put in. You would want to also invite, like I said, the open house. You want to have college awareness events. You want to have...
So you're talking about leaders all over.
All over.
All over.
All over, because you want leaders to touch other leaders, to have those touchstones, because that's how you develop and you get resources.
And the reason why I'm asking you about leadership is because in your book, you talk a lot about the impact of leaders and how it affects and even infects the people surrounding them. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
I can. So there have been times, like I said, you have leaders and then you have leaders. So, and some people, because you have a title, it doesn't necessarily make you a leader. And I do speak about that. That in the book. I think there has to be a level of accountability, a level, again, of self-awareness.
Yep.
There are levels of reflective time that you should have. There are also very tangible things that you could do by looking at your communication style and how is that coming across to people.
Communication style.
I myself have been in the crossroad of developing into a better leader. I didn't always start out as one, but I was going with the examples I had. But once I realized, I was like, this is not the way to, you need to, as a leader, I feel like you need to be able to mold, to mentor. You literally want to train people to take your job. And I say that, and I say that with lots of levels of true sincerity, because we all have to move on to an elevated position. What's the next elevation? And we have to think about career mapping, career planning, and what does that look like for someone? Like, if you have someone in a school that's a paraprofessional, I would desire them to be an assistant or a substitute teacher. I would desire them to want to fulfill that, because we're teaching our kids that we move up. Like, you move up from the first grade to the second grade. You're teaching your staff the same thing.
Yeah.
We teach each other that.
Wow.
So that's how I feel like how impactful that can be when you want to take the time to develop as a leader.
Yeah.
And also, leaders have to also want to develop themselves further as well.
Right, because it doesn't just stop when you're a leader.
It doesn't stop. Trust
Yeah.
me. It just doesn't stop. Like, I'm in my position, but I went on ahead. I took the initiative. I was like, no, I want to learn more about this. I need to learn more about how nonprofit boards work.
Yeah.
I need to learn more about technology. I need to learn more, because as a leader, once we grow our capacity, our staff will grow their capacity. And then they have more of a desire to stay on to certain positions instead of maybe leaving because it's not fulfilling.
Wow. Patricia, I am so happy that you came and you joined us and you spoke about the impact of community. You are one of the people that I look to when I want to learn more about community. You are one of the people that I look to when I want to learn more about leadership. So I appreciate your presence here. I appreciate all you've done over the last 20 plus years. How many years has it been?
25 and going.
25 years. 25 years. So again, I want to just thank you for joining us. And this is a part of the show where I ask you rapid fire questions.
Sure. Here
Ready?
I am.
Coffee or tea?
Both.
No, you can't.
Well, okay. This is what tea in the morning and coffee in the afternoon.
Okay, so both. Okay. Hot weather or cold weather?
I like cold weather.
Cold weather. Okay. Driving or taking the subway?
Definitely driving.
Okay. Oh, well, you do drive. I don't drive, so mine is going to be like Subway. Wow. Hot dogs or hamburgers?
Hamburgers.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I didn't know that. Juice or soda?
Juice.
Juice. Okay. All right. That's all I have.
All right.
Thank you so much for joining me, Patricia.
Thank you.
And if you want to join the conversation, go ahead and click the link in the bio and fill out the guest information form. I would love to have you on my show. Thank you.
Thank you.